Crete is a word that can't be spoken simply. And 50 years ago, Crete was convulsed by one of the bloodiest battles our men have ever fought, a battle marked now by a field of graves. Today, 74 World War II returned men head back to Crete, back to the scene of the conflict, and for many it's the first time they've done so. It's a great return, an emotional one, a difficult one, this revisiting, this reawakening of the memories of half a century ago. Spiro Anastasio will be going with them.
On a May morning in 1941, a battle began which claimed the lives of 671 New Zealanders serving on Crete. Another 1,000 were wounded and more than 2,000 were taken prisoner. Out of a force of 7,500 men, over half were lost, a casualty rate higher than any other military engagement.
On the Somme, we lost something like 50% of the New Zealanders taking part. At Crete, we lost something like 60. It was the hardest and most savage battle ever fought by the New Zealand Division in the Second World War.
For 3 weeks, the Luftwaffe pounded our men, some of the most concentrated and horrifying bombing of the war.
Being struck, bombed and mortared, and not having that equipment, it was impossible, absolutely impossible, for people to have fought against it. Courage and a rifle doesn't win a war against planes.
On the morning of May the 20th, German airborne troops were thrown at the Allies. 10,000 Germans landed by parachute or glider. By the end of that day, 4,000 of Hitler's elite troops had been killed, wounded or captured. A day of bloodiness never to be forgotten.
The blokes coming down hanging there and everybody just watching him.
They weren't armed.
They weren't armed.
They were caught in between the 22nd and the 21st. And those poor buggers just got slaughtered.
The poorly armed and equipped Allies under our man, Major General Bernard Freyberg, almost won the battle. But Freyberg had almost no communications to coordinate his defence. He was fighting blind. And when the Germans landed another 12,000 troops, Crete was as good as lost. The Kiwis were chased over the rugged mountainous backbone of Crete to the southern coast and evacuated by the Royal Navy. The bulk of that Allied force sailed for Alexandria in Egypt and would fight on with distinction in the North Africa campaign. Today the step's a little slower, but the men of the Anzacs still carry the spirit which distinguished them in battle. Every year they've remembered that time in Crete when they fought side by side, when they fought for their lives. 50 years on, this is the year they go back.
I'd like to go back and find a certain village above and across from point 107, the family that took me in once the Germans disappeared back into action, took me inside and tried to attend to my wounds.
I want to visit the cemeteries, and I want to get out of my mind those I killed.
For most going back, it will be their first time in Crete since the war, a chance to thank the Cretans and say farewell.
It was said after the battle that you could tell a man who had fought in Greece and Crete because somehow he was different. It's very significant to that generation. Each generation looks at something that they were involved with. And for the generation that fought in the Second World War, Crete was their Gallipoli.
The defence of the Mediterranean island of Crete produced the New Zealand Battalion's fiercest and bloodiest battles of World War II. 700 Kiwi soldiers died. Today, 70 veterans left on a trip back to Crete. Here's Spiro Anastasio.
Each year, those who've fallen are remembered. Each year, there are fewer of them, but the memories remain, especially of a battle which saw 10,000 of Hitler's elite airborne troops pitted against a poorly equipped and organised Allied force.
Okay, we lost it. Inevitably, it's probably a good thing we did, because it would have been more expensive to maintain it.